The full potential of your greatness is available for you. It's there, but it comes at a
Be
price, and
understood
the price until after, but it's not
Yeah.
like you don't have to get it while you're in it. It's like more than I can lift right now, and I'm like, how fascinating that I'm being asked to figure out how to do this as one person. This is meant to be a truly extraordinary life. And it's the one thing the ego is terrified of not having
Hey
is
everyone, welcome to Masterpiece Cafe. And today I'll be talking with Jesse Pepe. Jesse is not only an artist, an actor, and a musician, but he's also a coach on mindfulness and a spiritual guide, and asks us what we're actually here for. You get to hear part of his journey, and I can't wait for the insights of this to drop into your own life and your own masterpiece.
here we go. Ah,
Hey, there he is.
how you doing?
Well, thank you for coming to this masterpiece
Oh,
conversation, like
thank
supporting
you.
me in this.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks for inviting me. And I wanted to say first off, I'm sorry I haven't finished your book yet. I really am like I know
I feel totally betrayed.
but I am really enjoying it. There are already things uh that I've taken away that I'm like, oh, uh I needed a reminder of that.
What is an unspoken desire, an untapped potential that you feel like you're leaning into right now?
I don't know how to describe it, but I feel it.
Okay.
Um, well, no, I can make it more tangible. Um,
Okay.
I guess this in the simplest form, it would be a writer, uh, a creative that has the ability to. Yeah, I think just a storyteller. I mean, that's pretty much what my days are. They are, I'm writing scripts, and I'm also teaching that part time, screenwriting. I'm also writing music, and I really love telling stories in both. And I write one of the projects that I'm working on right now is a movie musical that I'm currently doing the music for, like writing the music for it, which is like a crazy undertaking that I'm like, it's like more than I can lift right now, and I'm like, how fascinating that I'm being asked to figure out how to do this as one person.
Mm.
Like
Hmm.
the script, the lyrics, the music itself. This has been like a 4 year project where like it's had stops and starts. But like this project pretty much encapsulates, I think, where I feel like my own mastery lies in this lifetime, which is which is like because I've had to become a professional screenwriter, and I've had to become a professional lyricist, and also now being able to understand music production and composition, which like I don't know if I ever have an expertise in that, but at least like enough to maneuver. But yeah, the music music and storytelling, the two of them, and I kind of just see them as one. Like my professional life right now is a very sort of a lot of training and also like a lot of sort of fluidity between is it a music related thing? Is it just a story related thing? Is it music and story together? Um, it all sort of just feels like the same. Though, but that is where I feel that's where I feel closest to God in my life.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Knowing that He's popping up all over the place in a lot of areas,
Yeah.
but where I still I think it's my own karma to work out in this lifetime. It's a lot of creative. I have a lot of creative karma to work out.
Mm.
It's where like I remember listening to Comfortably Numb, and like
Right.
the feeling of it was your mastery, your life mastery, like as a craftsman, lies here. It is you are going to your job is to create work that is that are transport vehicles for other people into a glimpse of spirit. And and that's really the beauty of what art is, because like I remember listening to Pink Floyd when I was 5 or 6, or in high school, and being
Yeah.
like, I don't get these guys. and then and then suddenly you're the right person in the right setting with the right
Yeah.
aperture to be open to that finally.
Yeah.
And then real art really hits you, and you go, oh fuck, I get what they were doing.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
they're taking off the mask of their own ego, and they're saying, I'm on this journey with you. I'm from a different time, but I'm exploring the journey getting back home spiritually.
Yeah.
And I've devoted my life to writing about this journey in very, very hidden subtext, so that everyone can understand it. But the depth of it will come when your spiritual awakening begins to happen. And
Right.
then you understand why people are drawn to being artists, because really what they're trying to do is they're trying to help you spiritually awaken and help guide you in that journey. I think the best form of this is mythology. Like the best stories ever told end up being the one, like they are allegories of the spiritual journey back home.
Right.
There have been people teaching us throughout our entire lives that like we just the message of it. Like I mean, Rumi I think is at the pinnacle of this, um as a poet. Like there's like a stand there's a course of there's like a course written at I think taught at Stanford about like the analysis of Rumi's poetry, which I think is the biggest joke. Those are the least likely people to be able to understand what his
Right.
poetry
Yeah.
was. You
Right.
can't analyze it. He was putting things in terms that you could understand, but he was using them as portals for divine realization, because that's what he was having, and he wanted
Mm.
to describe it, and he couldn't, but he had words. Those are the only things that he had. And that's really, I think, like the greatest form of artistic experience is you're communicating it as your communication with the divine uh, also is evolving. That feels like my life in a sense,
Yeah.
uh, in a very different sense, but I think like that is it's it's for whatever reason a mastery of artistic expression is required to do the job in the
Mm.
body.
What was the moment in which you kind of aligned with that and you really understood that that was like looking back now, like as you describe that, what point did it kind of shift inside you and you understood that that was your masterpiece or your mastery in this lifetime?
That's a good question. Um, I don't know. I think it happened. There were multiple moments where, because it's a feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's a feeling of it's a feeling of such intense love, and you feel this like jolt of just bliss, and you think that that's going to be, you sort of just don't understand what it is. You just don't.
Yeah.
I think I spent a lot of time just really not understanding what that feeling was. Um, and then I think at a certain point, just this feeling of, I think there's also some like cultural indoctrination that has to be let go of.
Hmm.
I think that has to be worked through to a certain extent, where like this idea that this idea that you that your life is supposed to be built on things that you love, and that's
Right.
ultimately gonna be what makes you a wonderful human being. Is you've taken the time to surround yourself with things that you love deeply, and that's, you saturate yourself in it all day, and that is not how we are taught in the West to live, right?
Not at
It's
all.
there's a, you shouldn't really be enjoying yourself all that much. I think,
And certainly not in the kind of bliss that you're describing. What you said at the beginning, it feels like I'm connected to God. It feels like when I'm connected to source. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think there was like a, I don't know, this is a really fascinating question because it's been a very gradual process, and there have been a lot of times where I've felt I've had to like, one of the current narratives that I can still feel myself working through is this idea that like I'm late to my own party.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
like this place that I'm starting to venture into is a place that I needed to get into when I was in my 20s and I'm behind. And I obviously know that that's not true.
Yeah.
I'm like, there are also times where I can feel the the whole journey of it sort of like at a distance, and it feels like chapters of specialty work that all eventually they seem like disparate puzzle pieces that don't fit together, but
Right.
they start to fit together in time, and you just don't know it yet. You don't know, like, I don't know why I don't know why I end up spending 5 years of my life devoted to yoga and meditation, and barely, and like just odd and end jobs that like I know are going nowhere, like
Hmm.
delivering Amazon packages and being like, oh, I love this. Like I could be a delivery driver for the rest of my life. And I actually, for a summer, I quit my job as a production manager at a production company, at a the creative head of creative development, and was like, oh, I'll just be a UPS driver.
Hmm. Right.
Like I love the feeling of just finishing up. Like you have packages, you deliver them, you're done. You go home, your mind is so peaceful. I'm like honestly, you should do this. Like you should just do this, and you should just give up being an artist. You should just give up. You should just stop. Like practically, even spiritually, it might be the best thing for you to do.
Well, you have a little bit more peace, right? Peace and heart. I don't
Yeah.
know. When you say delivering packages, the thing that comes to my mind right away is that creating something artistically that has meaning, that has a deeper meaning, like when I watch your videos, those are packages you're delivering to the world. What's the difference between that and being a UPS driver?
Well, it's taken a long time. It's taken a long time to start to be able to feel what it's like to truly work that way.
Mm.
Because I've always been tremendously attached, like very passion driven, and there's a lot of attachment that comes with passion that if you don't know how to manage both of them, they're going to burn you on both ends
Oh,
because
yeah.
the lows are so low that you don't want to live. And the highs are so high that you go totally unconscious and you um, you're not thinking clearly there either.
Right.
Um, and so so there was this like long period of being like, and I'm still like, it's an experiment that I'm still in the midst of, but I just like, I've always had a hunch that if you become excellent at what you do, you're going to love it more because that's how love works. It's a relationship of you have to put in
Yeah.
and you just trust it. And it took me a long time to be able to focus that way, honestly. Like it took me a really long time to be able to learn how to be present. And then it's taken me longer to learn how to do exactly what you said, which is treat it like delivering packages to people. Because really what you love about that so much is that you're not attached to any of it.
Right. You're
You're
not
not
attached to the
attached.
outcome.
It doesn't go home with you. You're so unattached to the process. So how do you take what feels like your dharma in this life
Yeah.
that you keep coming back to, that like it feels dharmic and karmic and shwarmic, like it feels all,
Right.
it's like, because I can also feel it where I'm like, a part of my interesting path to back home is also there's karma there that has to be worked through, and like I can feel it, like I can feel it in me. And I know that it's not going anywhere until I work it out. And so it's like, how do you work it out, but not take it with you everywhere?
Right.
Um,
Right.
and
Mhm.
I think around the time that I started to feel what that was like, which has probably only been in the last like 2 years, that's where it started to make sense. Where it was like, oh, the thing that you thought you were going to devote your life to, um, you are supposed to. Like, I don't know, Paige and I took a walk last night and we were actually talking about that. That like
Ah. Mm-hmm.
that there's this you sometimes like I don't know if you had this, but like I for as a little kid I lived with this feeling of this is meant to be a truly extraordinary life. This particular go round is meant to be like mind-blowingly amazing.
Yeah.
And I could feel that in my body, and like I could see it, like I could see it in this sort of like the way that life was approached and the way that like learning was approached. And like I don't know if everyone goes through this, or like I don't think everyone does go through this, where you feel like there's a period of time after that as you hit adulthood where you believe that all of that immense potential that you had, that you knew you had when you were a child, it was a lie. Like it was just a dream. It was a lie, and like you're actually not meant for anything
Right.
beautiful, wonderful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you're you're just gonna live this very average, you know,
Right.
discontented life.
That your life doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
the thing that
Yep.
you thought you were gonna do, you're not the like none of it. It's just none of it. And then to have the experience of like, no, just kidding, the dream was real. It was the dream that was real the whole time. So like, strap in
Strap
and
in. Yeah.
and really take it seriously. Like you, so I would say that like I
Mm-hmm.
would say that this was just a. It's been a feeling over the course of my whole life that like has sort of come in, come out, come in, come out in like greater degrees of focus up until a point where like I could see it clearly. Um, and and it was just it felt like a very gradual process.
I
I don't
mean,
know if that
what
makes
if
sense.
the place that you are right now is exactly the place that you needed to be, and all the things that you have done and um, leaned into and experienced were all necessary for you to actually be in the place in which you can deliver the packages.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
and
definitely the truth.
it's like a continuous process, right?
Yeah.
Because I look at like everything that contributed to like writing this book, right? And I thought they were separate pieces, but they're not. They're all part of the same piece. If you think about it, because you're on the journey, though we kind of forget to think about the fact that we're actually always on the journey. It feels like we're always going towards something forward. What are some things that were like magical that you could never have guessed you would have ended up doing or experiencing in, say, I don't know, the last 2 years, the last 3 years of this journey of creating a masterpiece that you're on?
I mean, the first one that comes to mind, it obviously happened outside of the 2, 3 year mark, but it was yoga.
Yeah.
Like it was, it was monumental. I mean, it, it, I I didn't even think that type of a life change was possible. Like
Mm-hmm.
how deeply and quickly it hit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the experiences that are the blow me away, I wasn't expecting this experiences are usually while I'm working.
Yeah.
Um, and or like right afterwards. Like usually go and take a walk after the workday. And like those it's um again, maybe everyone's sort of like everyone's incarnation is different. Like what they're really here to experience is different. And it seems like a part of honoring my incarnation here is also honoring the fact that like I am I am deeply, deeply curious about what it feels like to achieve mastery in something.
Yeah.
Like for and to and it's I think it starts as ego, and then it sort of like it breaks away. It just the ego parts of it continue to break, and you keep coming back to this like question of is this still worth doing? Is it
Yes.
still worth doing? Is it still worth being an artist now that like you don't care as much about being rich, or you don't care as much about being famous in that way, or you don't care about like the lifestyle? Like now that these things continue to fall away, and like you're constantly coming back to like, do I still want to do this? Do I still want to do it? Do I still want to? Do I still want to? And at a certain point, there's only one yes, and the yes is because. Like, well,
Mm-hmm.
why do you want to keep doing it? And there's only one answer. It's because. And like, and it, you have to like, I've felt this sort of stripping away of every other answer. But when it comes down to it, it's just because the love that I feel for this and what it gives me in return, and these small little moments of like, I'll be writing a song and like you accidentally play one note and like you it's like
Yeah.
and you're like God's in the room with me like fucking
Yeah.
around like and you're like you know it's as close as you've been with him in a really long time and and
Yeah.
you feel that like you're not the one doing anything anymore. You're just a vessel, and like whatever's coming out, you get to be surprised first, and you're continuing to dig around until you feel like that jolt of, oh my God, that's it. And then you're like, oh, I'm doing this just for myself. Like I get to be like,
Right.
this is, it's the best. Can you think of anything better? Like
No,
you get to
no.
play with the divine, and in your own small little goofy way. You get surprised, and you get like it's just nothing but pure love. And then you also get the added joy of being able to share that with other people and hope that they get that same intense experience that you got.
Mm.
And like those moments those moments never get old. Like I'm completely obsessed and addicted, and like I'm that it's because it's I get up and I'm just like, even if
Magical.
I'm having a bad, it doesn't matter. It's just you go in there and like you go in there and like that's you know you're gonna feel better.
Yeah.
And the feeling of like that was the other thing about that really quickly is like, when I listen to Comfortably Numb, a part of the other thing, like, or reading, I mean, like, Rumi's poetry is unfathomable. But, like, the Beatles, um, when you listen to their work, or like when you watch an incredible movie and you're just like the mind of the person that made this, like that level of craft. What does it feel like for a mind to have learned to be so concentrated, so open, so meticulous, like so tuned into like what the thing really needs to be and like how to make it come to be in form. Like what does a mind like that feel like? Because it has to be so razor sharp.
Yeah.
And uh, I think that's my journey is like I've that's what I really live for in this life. Like I'm not my mind I for who knows how long, but at least for the first quarter, you know, for the first 25 years of my life, like I think I had one of the least concentrated minds you could possibly imagine having.
It's hard for me to imagine that now, but yeah.
Oh, it was like, I mean, it really like it was literally a different human being.
Do you find that like uh, on my own journey, I experienced that it's a letting go, like you talk about, but it's also that I find myself, if I am as close to what feels like source or alignment with it, and that I end up just kind of flowing with these nudges that come out of nowhere and could that influence what comes out, and then I'm surprised. It's like this magic where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is where did this come from? Um, and so there's a razor sharpness, but there's also this allowing, like surrender. It's a surrender. And
Yeah,
I don't think it's possible. Wasn't possible for me before.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so um
It's the sound current, right? Like that's really what it is.
yeah.
It is your personal relationship with
Mm.
the thing that you've lost that you are trying to find again. And while we are currently trapped in the physical,
Yes.
we feel very particular areas in our life where we feel particularly close to it again. We
Mm.
feel we feel closer than in other areas. We feel like we're right up against it. And the feeling is this intoxicating love and wanting to surrender
Yes.
and wanting to devote yourself to it. Wanting to like I mean Kobe Bryant with basketball. Come on. Like it's like everyone's like, man, Kobe Bryant's work ethic was crazy. And
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant is in interview being like, you guys are crazy. You guys think that it's some sort of like this work ethic and determination. He's like, look, I get up at 4 a.m. not because I have to. I love it. I am excited.
Yeah.
Like, do you think I
Love,
could be doing this
passion.
every day, day in and day out for decades doing this just out of my own willpower?
Mhm.
Absolutely not. It's got to be something stronger.
Yeah.
And it's love.
Yeah.
Love is what will continue to make you grow through difficult spaces and handle the adversity. Like love, if that's what you're riding on, you can you can handle anything. And like while we can't while we are not yet able to on a spiritual level re-engage with the sound current, which is what as a human being you are, that is the truest purpose of your incarnation
Mhm.
is to get your soul to reconnect with the Shabbat again.
Yeah.
But a part of the dance here is an acknowledgement of like where where your mind starts to go particularly quiet and things get particularly calm and time starts to
Mm.
slow and you start to feel this this remembrance of eternity and you know you're close to it.
Mm.
When I write music or I'm writing like a really good story, that's the feeling. And I know that that's what my soul's communion with the sound current. I know that it is nothing but love and the time bends and you go, I can't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
I ever worried about anything ever. I cannot believe that I ever thought any of that was important. But we get our own glimpses of it. We get our own glimpses of it here in
Yeah.
our own small ways. And I think it's important when you feel that to dig into it.
Yeah. I call it the ridge line. It feels like the ridge line when it feels like electricity coming
Yeah.
through my body. Um, yeah, I love the way you described it though. It's really just love coming from love. What, when you can no longer create here on this planet, on this plane, in this world, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
I don't think I care.
You don't care.
No. I used to be really afraid to like answer it that way.
Ah, this is interesting. And now I'm really
But like
interested.
I don't care about legacy.
Yeah.
I used to care about legacy a lot.
Okay. Tell me
Um,
more.
like as the I think as the ego is maturing, there's this there's this need to create your own piece of eternity
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
because the ego lives in time, bound by time.
Mm.
Eternity doesn't exist for the ego. It's the one thing the ego doesn't have, and and it's the one thing the ego is terrified of not having is its own eternal space.
Right.
So the ego desperately wants something timeless for itself.
Mhm.
That's the desire for legacy. It's it's the ego operating from itself, saying,
Mm.
"I'm I'm I'm going to die at some point. I'm not. I am terrified that I'm not going to last forever. I need to find a way to last forever. I'm going to lie to myself and pretend that that's even a possibility
Mm.
because everything's going to end and then everything's going to restart and that's the time cycle here. That's what happens. So it's impossible to legacy is really an impossibility. Like everything gets forgotten at some point,
Yeah. And then recreated.
then recreated. It's the Buddhist mandala. It's just making it. So that's
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that my ego doesn't sometimes chime in and be like, well, wouldn't it be cool if like, you know, like, the Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson equivalent of
Right.
like, oh, but don't you want that to be you? Like you're gone, but like everyone, but like it's hard to kid myself and be like,
Mm.
even if you were like, even if you're the greatest icon of your particular craft, like you still just can't get around the fact that like time's already erasing it. Time's already bending it, making it different than what it was, bending and shaping the
Right. You
reality.
could take like Steve Jobs and the creation of Apple and how it's already been bended. But I guess I think of legacy as the ripples that you send out that aren't necessarily attached to you and your work, but the ripples that go outward that then meet others, and then they create ripples, and then those ripples meet others, and that creates ripples that stick around for a long time. And I mean, you, in my mind, it's if I think about the spiritual masters, they created ripples that are still creating ripples that tie in uniquely to someone's own journey and the ripples that they're creating. It's like what they created then gets built upon, even though some of it is lost. It gets built upon and built upon and built upon. And that's more what I'm thinking about when I think about legacy. So I find this really interesting because it's making me think about it in a different way.
I hear that. I think
Like I don't tie it to the individual person's contribution, more like, mm, yeah, the
no, I
ripples.
hear you. I mean, like, I'm Kabir Kabir made a very big ripple in someone's life
Right,
700 years after he wrote The Ocean of Love and
right.
totally changed my life. So it's a big ripple. Um, but well, there's a couple things here. I think the first one is, man, give me a sec while I figure out. Um, yeah, I mean, of course. Like, I think, like, if I had the ability to write
Sorry.
write things that 700 years later, a young, curious, lost human being would read would read something that you wrote and it would change their whole life. Of course. Like, of course that's what I would want.
Mm.
But I also think that a part of the journey to really being that open and letting that type of great work come through is that I don't think that you can ever get there while you have your own eye on the game. Like,
Mm.
I don't think you can get there while you're thinking about what type of a legacy you might leave behind. And I think that that's a part of it, is the full potential of your greatness is available for you. It's there, but it comes at a price, and the price is you have to slay your ego entirely, because that fullness of potential that you feel like you're capable of, that that is that is God fully working through you as a vessel, and you're
Right,
no longer resistant. You have fully
right,
surrendered.
right.
And that type of work requires full surrender at every moment. So what we end up talking about
Mm.
is you you end up as the person making it a priority to try to get to God as quickly as possible so that your ego can be eradicated. Because then you can trust that whatever it is that's meant for you in this life,
Yeah.
you're going to do it immaculately because it's not you anymore. And I don't think any of the greatest things that history's ever seen have ever come from a place uh, other than that. And that the people that created those things that still stir something in you hundreds or even thousands of years later, they were operating from a place of truth that was so deep that there was no room for their ego to operate, to speak, to think, nothing. And when you are at a certain place in your evolution spiritually and you read their work, you recognize a brother or a sister that lived long ago, and they're saying, guess what? You're right. This is it.
Hmm.
This is it. You found it. Welcome.
Right.
Your journey really starts, and we've been walking it. We are currently walking it, and we're telling you about it, but no one else is going to understand it until you're ready to understand it, and um, until you're spiritually, ready to do that work. Um, so I think that I think that I think that that's the big catch 22, right? That's the big catch 22 about spirituality. God says, "I'll give you everything that I have, but you have to give up everything that you have."
Yep.
And the sad reality is that what we have is tissue paper. It's literally nothing. And we're so attached to it and so afraid to just give it up. And like that, but that's the offer. The offer is just give up your Plato's cave like drawings on shadows on
Yeah.
rock, and like I will give you the God man. Like I will give you mastery of your existence, and
Yeah.
everything that you do will be that level of excellence. The way that you speak to people, the way that you love people, the way that you treat people,
Yeah.
the way that you talk to people, the way that you walk, like everything that you do is in service to all beings at all times.
Yeah.
You just have to give up your ego. And we've had these things for so long, we're terrified to give them up. And so we're going to spend lifetimes, multiple lifetimes, trying to get brave enough to just kill ourselves before we die.
Hmm. Yep. Kill the ego. What do you think are three things that people can do to move towards that in being closer to source and allowing and surrendering and killing the ego?
Uh, Meditate and do yoga. Those two will expedite the process of like the vessel being more open.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it those two practices are practices that are in a very literal way, energetically, they start to get in there and they start to play disruptor to all of the different false concepts and beliefs that you have about who and what you are and how the world operates and who and what God is and isn't. And like it's because the mind the mind has to be like, it has to digest it. And
Yeah.
it's too full of its own nonsense to digest better information. So the first thing that you have to do and spend a lot of time doing is um, it's that story about the seeker going to the Buddhist temple and asking a very wise Buddhist monk, I want truth, just demanding it. I want truth, give me truth. And after a little dance with this guy, the Buddhist monk finally says, sit down and have tea with me. And the guy's like, I don't want tea, I want truth. And the Buddhist monk sits him down and starts to pour the tea into his cup and keeps pouring and keeps pouring and keeps pouring. And the cup's overflowing. Now the table's overflowing. And the tea is getting onto the young guy's lap, and he stands up and he's like, what is this? What are you doing, you crazy man? And the monk is like, that overflowing cup, that's your mind. How can I teach you anything? Your mind is already too full of its own stuff.
Yeah.
So go away for a bit and get your mind empty, clear it, and then come back, and then you will be receptive to truth. So that is like, that's what, it's the slowest part of the process, but it's a necessary part. Is like, I'm still undergoing this process of getting my mind cleared out of all of
Hmm.
these different, but this, this started about 6 years ago, and it's a process that does not stop until you've made contact. Um, and but yoga and meditation are the yoga meditation, and I would say the third one is psychedelics. They're all tools that help you let go.
Hmm.
And you see that the whole game is just letting go.
It's a continual process of letting go.
Continual, even masters as recent as like the great master um, of the 40s. But like even in the like I've heard stories about he would go to these little mountain villages to initiate people onto the path, and they would lay mattresses down behind them
Mm.
because very apparently very frequently in these small little areas of India, the second the master reconnected them to the sound current, they left immediately. They went in, their soul was drawn up like a vacuum, they were sucked out, and they were flying.
Mm.
And so they would just fall over. So that people had to put mattresses down so that in the case of that happening, they they're not prepared for it, obviously, and like
Right.
their physical body can land somewhere nice. But like, that is
Mm.
these people that were able to, the soul and God, like the soul and the Holy Ghost, the Shabbat, the Word, the Tao.
Yeah.
This is like a magnet, and this is like a little shard of metal. And they always want, like, it always wants to go back. Always, always, always. If there was nothing weighing on it, it would go back immediately and effortlessly. So why don't we? Why when we sit down is it just like such a slog? It's because there's so much weighing our consciousness down and keeping it in this body.
Right.
So you have to you have to rigorously adhere to practices that are going to unburden that weight, all of the attachments, all of the desires, all of it, so that you can sit down in meditation and your soul can just leave, which is naturally what it wants to do.
Mm.
So like, yeah, it's those three in particular do a really good job at like um,
Mhm.
at at breaking through the brick wall that is, and clearing out the heaviness that's that's bogging you down until you can finally leave, and then
Right.
that phase of the job is done. You can say, "Woof, man, that was an intense one." And now we're on to a different stage of the journey and a different thing to learn.
Thank you so much for your time, Jesse. This has been amazing. Just exploring, for me, it's a spiritual journey. It's about aligning to something that really has meaning to your soul. And if that isn't what the ridge line that you're walking or the ripples that you're sending out or going towards, then we're not really achieving what we're meant to achieve here.
Yeah.
That was amazing. If you want to do more with Jesse Pepe, you can find him on Instagram where he loads his music videos. He's a musician, an actor, and a screenwriter. And he also works with the Matthew Hussey team in Club 320. You can attend the Matthew Hussey retreat this fall and become a member of 320 and get Jesse one-on-one every month as part of the membership. If you want to go deeper with me, I have a couple of things to offer you. I'm doing a Fear to Flow mastermind, and I have a free PDF that gives you an introduction to the concepts. If you're interested in learning more, just comment fear in the comments and I'll connect with you. You can also work with me one-on-one to tackle those fears head on and build the life you were meant to live. And remember that you are the architect of your experience. I believe in you, and let's create the life that you love. See you next time on Masterpiece Cafe.